Hi.
If I asked you to take my virginity, would that be a problem? And very seriously.
Please.
Our story begins on a dark, rainy night. At that moment, an elderly man named Spencer is on his way home when he suddenly stumbles over our main character, Katie, who is lying in a narrow alley, covered in blood. Spencer feels sorry for her and immediately tries to call an ambulance, but Katie refuses and begs him not to. When he asks her what she needs instead, she simply asks for a cup of tea. Of course, kind-hearted Spencer can't leave her like this. He helps her up, supports her, and takes her to his modest home. There, he gives her tea and clean clothes, but he's confused and wants to know who did this to her and why. At this point, Katie chooses to tell the truth. She admits that she brought all of this upon herself, saying that she is, in her own words, a loose woman. She insists that if he truly wants to understand, he has to hear her story from the very beginning. We then learn that her wild instincts started showing as early as the age of 2. We cut to a flashback of her being 7 years old. At that time, she and her friend B would sneak into the bathroom at home, play around, splash water everywhere, and have fun slipping and sliding, trying to enjoy themselves and clean up before their mother caught them. She deeply admired her father, who worked as a doctor, while she disliked her mother and even saw her as a kind of evil witch. At school, physical education was her favorite class, as she enjoyed the feeling of freedom and excitement while climbing and playing games. She often said that children aren't always as innocent as people think, and that they can sometimes get into a lot of trouble. We return to the present, where Spencer interrupts her and tells her that children are not to blame. Katie responds that maybe not all children are, but she believes she was one of the bad ones, and she warns him that what comes next in her story is even darker. She starts telling her story, and we go back in time again to when she had grown up and was deeply frustrated that she was still a virgin, so she decided to lose her virginity with a guy named Jerome. He made her wait while he finished fixing his motorcycle, and after that, he had a quick encounter with her, then left coldly without a second thought, only caring about himself. From that day on, Katie swore that no man would ever touch her again. A few years later, we see Katie with her friends, whose behavior had become even more reckless. They are walking around the city in revealing, provocative outfits, acting wildly and full of crazy ideas. Eventually, they even board a train without tickets. On the train, Katie and her friend B make a dirty bet. The challenge is, whoever sleeps with the most men before they reach their destination wins a box of chocolates. And so they begin moving through the train cars, looking for men without any shame or hesitation. Katie enters a compartment where a man is sitting alone. She starts acting seductive, flirting and blinking her eyes like a nightclub girl, and the man quickly gives in. He takes her to the bathroom almost immediately. After that, she moves to another compartment and pretends to be sad, saying her hamster is sick. One man feels sorry for her and holds her hand, which is exactly what Katie wanted. She asks him to show her the bathroom, and once they get there, she doesn't waste any time. Meanwhile, the train is getting close to its destination, and B is currently ahead in the score. When they enter the first-class carriage, the ticket inspector asks for their tickets. B searches her bag but finds no money, and out of embarrassment, she speaks to him coldly and arrogantly, claiming she doesn't buy tickets for a trash train like this one, tearing up the receipt he gave her. Before the situation escalates further, another passenger steps in and pays for their tickets, stopping the conflict. B then started acting overly friendly with the man, trying to seduce him to repay his kindness. But he completely rejected her advances and behaved respectfully. When B saw that, she got annoyed and told Katie that she would get 5 extra points if she managed to win this man over, meaning that if Katie succeeded, she would take the lead and win the bet. Katie accepted the challenge and approached him. When she found out he was in a hurry because his wife was about to give birth, that didn't stop her. She still tried to seduce him, holding his hand and getting physically close to him. The man tried to pull away, but he was clearly overwhelmed and nervous. In the end, Katie crossed the line and forced the situation to go too far just to secure the points. Afterwards, we see her at the station, eating the chocolate she won with satisfaction and without any sense of regret. We return to the present, where she is still at Spencer's house. He is impressed by her story and even says that, in a strange way, she has given those people memories they won't forget. Katie notices a special type of cookie he is eating and finds it odd that he always eats everything with a fork. She tells him she once knew someone who did the same, and she begins talking about Jerome again. We go back into another flashback. At that time, Katie had been moving from man to man at an extreme level. She even created a group called the Little Herd, with strict rules. No girl was allowed to be with the same man twice, and emotional attachment was strictly forbidden, only physical pleasure was allowed. Because of all this, she gained a reputation and was nicknamed the vacuum cleaner, because of how quickly she moved from one situation to another without hesitation. But one day, her friend B confessed that she had fallen in love. After a long argument, Katie left her and walked away furious. The next day, Katie decided to change her life and applied for a job. But when she arrived, she discovered that the company owner was none other than Jerome, the same guy who had taken her virginity years ago. Of course, Jerome was happy to see her again. And despite the fact that she had no experience at all, he hired her anyway just because of favoritism. During the first days at work, he tried to open the door to the past and rekindle what they once had. But to his shock, she rejected him completely. Even more shocking, Katie started sleeping with all the employees in the company out of spite toward him. Until one night, she suddenly felt something strange inside her. She realized she was actually in love with Jerome. For a whole month, she stopped all relationships and tried to gather the courage to confess her feelings to him. But on the day she finally made her decision and went to him, she discovered that he had already left. He traveled around the world with his new wife. And of course, his uncle fired her from the job, saying she was useless and had no skills the company needed. From the moment Jerome disappeared, her desires took over even more than before. She started chasing men obsessively. Years passed, and her lovers became countless. She couldn't even remember their names anymore, so she began writing notes just to keep track of them. As things escalated, she started choosing men based on simple criteria. If the number was high, she went for it. If it wasn't, she had no interest. One day, one of her clients refused to leave her apartment and became clingy. She kicked him out with a few cold words, but only minutes later, someone knocked on the door, and there he was, standing with a suitcase. He had sold everything, left his life behind, and come to choose her. Suddenly, his wife arrived. Completely calm and cold, she told Katie that she had come just to confirm he really ended up with his mistress after destroying their home. Out of anger, she took the children into the bedroom, pointed at Katie's bed, and told them, "This is the bed your father destroyed our family for. Remember this place well, so when you grow up and go to therapists, you'll know who ruined your lives, and you'll hate him even more." During all this chaos, another lover arrives carrying flowers. The woman, overwhelmed and bitter, takes the flowers from him and gives them to her children instead. Then she looks at Katie with a piercing, cold expression and asks like a knife cutting through her words, "How many homes can you destroy in a single day, you monster?" Katie tries to defend herself, but the woman calls her a disgusting whore, takes her children, and leaves. We return to the present, where Spencer asks her how all of this affected her life. She replies coldly that no home is built without breaking another one first. Then she reveals a harsh truth. She was never addicted to money, she was addicted only to desire. We go back into memory again, to a dark night in a hospital. Katie enters her father's room while he is dying. With the cruelest tone, she tells him that her mother isn't coming. She insults her mother, calling her weak and cowardly. In the middle of his pain and screams, Katie leaves him and goes downstairs, where she has sex with a cleaning worker in the hospital. The next day, her father dies. She says she felt nothing at all. Her mother left her alone with the corpse, but the real trauma, according to her, was standing in front of her father's dead body while feeling sexually aroused at the same time. Spencer tries to comfort her, telling her that such reactions can sometimes happen during extreme trauma. She looks at him with a strange sense of appreciation and goes silent. Then Katie begins talking about 3 unforgettable lovers. The first one was a man named Calf, a tragic figure who could make even the hardest heart feel pity for him. At that time, Katie was sleeping with 7 or 8 men a day. Calf used to arrive an hour before his turn, carrying flowers, waiting patiently in his car outside. Sometimes she would even feel a bit of sympathy for him and let him in to drink coffee while she finished with another man inside. All he ever wanted was to make her happy and satisfy her in any way she wanted. Then comes G, the only man she was ever willing to wait hours for. And the moment he arrived, he would go straight in, because as soon as the door opened, all that mattered to him was extinguishing her inner fire. Even though she had become highly experienced in controlling men and was doing up to 10 encounters a day, deep inside, loneliness was still eating away at her heart. One day, while walking, she noticed torn pieces of paper on the ground. She started picking them up and realized they were photos of Jerome. Suddenly, a hand grabbed hers. It was Jerome himself. He had been fighting with his wife and had torn up all their pictures. In that moment, they both fell into each other's arms in an intense, emotional, and passionate scene filled with fire and feeling. But suddenly, Katie disconnected from reality. She drifted away mentally. Jerome was confused and asked her why. She explained that she no longer felt pleasure, she had lost the ability to feel anything at all. She was completely broken and couldn't understand what was happening to her. And here, the first part of the movie ends. If you want the second part, write it in the comments, and I promise you, my friend, it will be released in 2 days. Don't forget to like, turn on notifications, and if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. See you soon, heroes. Goodbye.